That's me. I got it.
Well, anyway, hey, we're live anyway.
We are live.
We're live anyway.
I know. Whether we want to be or not. Hi, everybody. Did you miss us the last 2 weeks? We missed you.
Hope you had fun with your Super Bowl parties, and I hope you had a nice Valentine's Day with your sweetheart. We're going to talk about the golden age of Hollywood today with a very special guest star, live from California, from Hollywoodland, as it were.
Yeah,
You ever been to Hollywoodland?
there's Hollywoodland type twinkle music. Hear it?
Chance, you been to Hollywoodland?
Yes, twice.
I have too.
I've been more than all of you.
On business, probably. You probably
Yeah,
were
pretty
earning
much.
money out there.
Yeah, well,
and you went to a wedding not too long ago in
That's
California.
Right. About a year ago.
Tom went out there to see all the graves or all the past stars.
Yeah, that's where they're all at.
That's right.
They're all out there waiting for me. Well, anyway, we're about to get started here, everybody, so y'all just hang in there with us.
Chances must be sharing stuff.
He is. He's sharing stuff, even as we speak. Oh, you can pop this music up a little bit. It's a little low here for some reason.
Well,
The nostalgic Podblast will start momentarily.
who's that?
I think it's you. I think it's the golden tones of Al Hardy, Jr.
That's right. I am a junior.
Are you a junior? I was just kidding. Are you really a junior?
Did you share on the rewind page?
Nah, about to.
Okay.
Now, who we are, we started this show back in June of 2019. And I'm Chance Bartels. Tom Williams is here to my right, and Al Hardy is our co-founder who's running the board today.
Well, should I turn the camera on?
Sure.
Yeah, might as well. Might as well turn the camera on. So they can see us.
Do they really want to see us, though?
No, they probably don't. They probably don't want to see us at all.
Oh, we're here anyway.
Yeah, whatever. I mean, you got the you got the promo ready, the trailer.
Podblast will start
Yeah, I can do that.
Well, we don't have to play the trailer just yet. We want to set this up. We're going to start a great series of shows about Hollywood studios, Paramount Studios, 20th Century Fox, and we're going to start today with Warner Brothers. And we have an incredible guest who'll be calling in later in about 15 minutes or so from California.
What's his name?
His name's Woody Wise.
Yeah, Woody.
And he is the founder of a really great group of guys called the Cliffhangers that have been around for
The
over
Brotherhood of the Popcorn.
40 years. Well,
That's
that's the name of the documentary we're
Yeah,
going to
that's
talk
right.
about, the Brotherhood of the Popcorn, and we'll find out who they are. But this group is excellent. They're very talented, and there's some normal guys that just love film. When I say normal guys, I mean guys that never really worked in the industry. And then there's animators.
There I am.
There's people that were fish truck drivers and animators. And you're going to learn all about them. But really, we're going to talk about old school Hollywood, the golden age of Hollywood.
That's right.
And we're going to talk about this great movie that you should check out called The Brotherhood of the
It's really a
Popcorn.
documentary.
It's a documentary.
Let's call it
Yes.
like it really
But one thing
is.
we all have in common, we all like movies.
And the funny thing about it is, I want to.
What was that?
I want to know what that was. I think it was this computer. What I want to do is ask Woody because we've been doing it for
This is our
quite a
what,
few years too. As
couple
far
of years?
As
Couple
far
years
as
now?
as far
Yeah.
as getting together and watching movies or whatever the case.
Oh,
may
we've
be.
been doing it a long time.
And it started with film, actually, but this 35 millimeter film or 16 millimeter film. And so we should be Cliffhangers East.
Well, you know, that's what really, if you think about it, I mean, that's what brought me together with you.
That's true. That's very
and
true.
Actually, with Chance, too. When
Yeah.
Chance got a job at Cumulus, I found out that he was a film collector and liked movies.
yeah.
And that's how it all became
Yeah,
about.
that's how it all
And then
comes
you
about.
moved to Atlanta from Virginia, where Woody is from Virginia.
Yeah.
And so, and you came to work at Turner Broadcasting.
Yes, I
And
did.
somebody said, well, you need to meet Al. He collects movies. And that's how we met.
Actually, they said you need to take as much films from Al as possible.
You know, one reason I got a job in television?
Tell us. Why?
I can't see me, can you? Is because I like collecting movies, and I wanted a job in the film department so I could have my hands on 16 millimeter film.
Oh, yeah.
That's the reason why, really, if you think about it. Yeah, but
I was going to play. I thought it was going to be an interesting story, so I was going to play a little James Bond music with it.
I'm sorry.
No, but I started collecting film back in the 70s. Actually, I started collecting film before Tom Hudgens did.
Did you guys
really?
explain to the layman's out there in the younger crowd that
So-
film is for reel-to-reel projectors, whether it's Super 8, 16 millimeter, or 35 millimeter?
Yeah, and it takes projectors to run the film, and it's just like when you used to go to the movie theater before digital kicked in. It was
And
actual
our
film.
guest, that was his first job, Woody Wise, was a projectionist,
Yes.
and he was 16 years old in Virginia, your home state, Tom Williams.
Yeah. I'll be curious to find out what part of Virginia he was in. 'cause-
I told him I can't remember.
I know, but I'll save it for Woody.
Well,
to tell.
the first job I had was as a usher at the Bailey Theater, my hometown of Wilmington,
yeah.
North Carolina.
Well, that's funny. The funny thing is, I didn't really get into 35 millimeter until you had the 35 millimeter at home, at home downstairs, and I got interested in it, and I got a job at Carmack, and you came over.
Yeah.
Right before that theater opened up, and it was a brand new theater, and we ran test prints and did all this stuff, and you made sure I knew what I was doing,
Yeah.
etc. Showed me how to make sure I was editing on the right line on the 35 millimeter, because if you do, you'll be a frame off and blah 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 blah,
Well,
all that stuff. I learned the majority of that from Al, and because Al had been doing it for quite a few years, and luckily I picked up on it pretty quick, and it wasn't a problem. The only thing I did that Al did not like was I used to move platter prints over from one platter to the other without the safety.
The clamps.
on 'em. And I would move. Now I would never move Titanic because that was a 9-reeler. So
I always put the clamps on.
I never, because our platters wound them tight enough to where, now if they were really loose, like when
Loose?
like when you run
The film would round loose on the platter.
like when you run the Saturday morning kitty flicks or whatever we
Bad
would run,
print, yeah,
they would wind loose,
Right.
And then I would use the clamps, but majority of the time I didn't use.
I was
clamps.
working at a theater here in Atlanta. It was called Friday's Plaza,
Yeah.
and a guy named Aaron worked there. I won't give his last name, but he, was like an assistant manager, and
Yes.
I worked in the
Yeah.
booth. You remember
Yeah.
Aaron?
I remember Aaron very well.
And so,
Isn't he a cop now?
yeah, he's a police officer.
yeah.
But anyway, so I was in the booth, there at the rewind table, working on prints, and he says, "I'll go ahead and move the prints because on Thursday the
You told me
movies
about
change.
this.
We would move a movie, say from the big house to the smaller house
Right.
if it was in its second or third
Right,
week,
right.
and so." He said, "I'll go ahead and move the print." And I said, "Well, here's the clamps." He said, "I can move it without the clamps." This is a true story.
Yeah.
And so I was sitting there doing my thing, splicing film, and I heard. Aaron says, "Don't turn around."
Wait.
Just like
Wait. I felt I should
yeah.
play the film one.
He tried to move the film without the clamps, and the center core came out.
Right. But unless you know how to do it, like I knew how to do it, I never had a problem with it. Now, other people did,
Right.
Because they didn't want to use the clamps like me. But I said, no, you use the clamps. Unless I'm with you, use the freaking clamps.
Well, it was like 11:30 at night.
Right, Woody?
It was 11:30 at night, and so I says, "I'm not staying here to put this together." I said, "You're going to have to stay here all night long and get the." So he had to string the film out and get it all back. So I left. I mean, I guess
What did he even know how to put it back together?
Oh
after?
yeah,
Okay.
he could do it. Yeah.
Okay,
So-
I remember one time. This was way before. It's back when I lived in Virginia. I'd gotten a Mylar print of Future World. Okay.
Future World, yes.
And
good. The sequel to Westworld.
Yeah, correct.
I like that
And
movie,
It was a
actually.
great movie.
The
And
first one was the best.
Yeah.
It was with Yul Brynner, but Yul Brynner was in Future World in a
Yes.
smaller degree. But
Well, the guy had sent it to me on cores, and I had never really dealt with cores before.
cores are films with they're on plastic, on little plastic rounds.
Disc
Discs.
and there's no reel. So just like a
Meaning
unclamped-
take-up reel.
Yeah, just like a platter film, it's the same thing. If you're not careful with it, you can fall apart with it, and that's what this film did. It fell around my bedpost, all around my bedpost. So I called Tom Hudgens, and he came over, and we had a good laugh about it, and it took us about an hour to get it back. I don't remember cutting the film to get it put back together, but we might have.
But I always had a habit of looking back at the projector to make sure it was.
Same
up,
here. Same here.
Always did.
I would never just start it and walk away. I would always just make sure.
But you know what I did one time? I for some reason I set the projector, a Bell and Howell, on a chair. Well, the chair kind of, halfway through the movie, the chair fell over and the whole projector went boom in the floor. Thank God it didn't hurt the machine, but I jumped up and grabbed it real quick.
I'm amazed.
I was amazed it didn't break the arms on it.
Yeah, me too.
But it didn't. I was lucky.
I had but not to change the subject, but I had an Edison cylinder player with a big Morning Glory horn, and I had it sitting on top.
I never had one of those.
Yeah, I had it sitting
cool.
on. Yeah, I got it from Hudgens.
Yeah,
it was sitting on top of one of those portable TVs back then.
Right.
The tube TVs. You remember those, folks?
Oh yeah.
Tube
CRT.
TVs.
Yeah.
And it was sitting on there precariously, like an idiot. I was young, and sure enough, I was putting on a jacket or a sweater or something, and I hit the horn. And that thing went. So it bent the spindle. It bent the feed arm, which actually makes the cylinder play. So I had to get a new feed arm. But Tom bent it back and made it work.
Right.
But he said in order for this to be right, you're gonna have to get another.
But back in the day,
But that was way back in the day.
But I only had maybe one projector, and you wanted to protect that projector with your life.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
But now I have a basement full of them. People
Yes,
just say you can
do.
buy it. You can buy them for.
Al has so many projectors. It's hard. Well, wait, I haven't been in the film room. You said you rearrange stuff.
No, I'm not. The projector is still on the floor.
So it's still hard to navigate around his film editing table. He's got a really nice film editing table from where's it from again?
Came from Phipps Plaza Penthouse Theater.
Which is an AMC theater these days.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it's a nice film table.
It's got electric rewinds on it and everything.
And buddy, you can't get it. You can hardly fit two people. If he wants to show you something on his film room round table, be careful.
Well, it's funny. We have a mutual friend, and she had 3 projectors. She called me up and says, "You want to buy these 3 projectors?" It was 2 Ikes and a Elmo.
Yeah.
And so I went and looked at the projectors. The 2 Ikes they needed some work.
Yeah.
But I already got 2 really good Ikes,
Yeah.
But the Elmo worked fine. And she said, I said, "Well, I'll take the Elmo, but I really don't want the Ikes."
Yeah.
She says, "You can just have them. Just take them. I want to get rid of them."
We don't,
But I did give her $50, for the Elmo.
So basically, this is called filling time, and
are.
We're talking about a sundry of different things. It's all film related, though.
Well, Woody started out, with his. Well, you'll find out, but he was a film buff and film collector.
Yes,
in 16 millimeter film.
And Woody, my first experience with Woody. This, by the way, in case Woody's listening, this is Tom.
I'm out.
And it's Mr. Jack Benny on eBay. Well, I probably shouldn't have said that. But I bought something from him about almost 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And it was I should have brought the book with me. It's a Screen Actors book or yearly book or something like that. And he sent me his documentary as a gift.
It's really good.
And I told you about it. Mm-hmm. I didn't tell Chance about it, but I didn't really know Chance then. Mm-hmm. But I told you about it. Yeah. And I want to say... offered to loan it to you, but I never did.
No, you never did.
But I said look for it because it's out there.
Well, Woody sent me a link to it.
Let's watch the trailer.
We'll get it with the password, and I was able to watch it.
Yeah.
And we have a trailer we're going to show you. Is that loaded up? Check this out soon in just a second, everybody.
We'll want to show that too before we get Woody on the horn.
Because we're about 4 minutes too, and isn't the trailer about 4 minutes long?
Yeah, but Woody, the cool part about Woody is him and his friends. They're all from that same area of L.A. And they all come from different backgrounds, kind of like us.
Some worked at Warner Brothers. Some were drivers. Some were they had different jobs,
etc. And fascinating backgrounds actually, to the point to where I'm going, man, I'd like to talk to these guys too. At some point in time. So we've got the trailer of Woody's documentary here. We want to share with everybody before we get Woody on the horn, and we're going to do a show with Woody, and we're going to talk about all of his exploits. An interesting side note is the location in L.A. where he kind of lives. It has a Betty Davis connection, and we won't talk about that.
We'll let him talk
about that.
Yeah,
but it's got a very good Betty Davis connection. It does. So if you're ready to run the trailer, Al, here's the trailer. Let's do this and run the trailer and let everyone see what the documentary is all about.
Popcorn movie.
Cliffhangers is a group of young men my age who watch old black and white movies mostly, and serials called Cliffhangers.
We're from all different backgrounds. My background is theaters and video and working in the movie theaters. Animators, retired animators.
I've never had a real job my entire life. You want to pay me to do this, draw cartoons? Heck, where do I sign up?
Fish truck drivers, there's retired school teachers, retired newspaperman, a retired singer. But somehow the movies bring us together. We talk about films, old films, new films, stars.
There's my buddy, Gene Autry, one of my favorites.
Marilyn Monroe, what more can we want in life?
I want to be the guy that's in that movie with that girl.
It's just like a Saturday matinee as a kid. It brings you back to your childhood. If I was a good kid, I'd get 25 cents to go to the movie, to get lunch, to buy candy with, and popcorn, and see 25 cartoons, 3 movies, and a couple of movie serials.
We had to think of a news cinema, and they were perfect for children. They lasted an hour. And it was a little paradise of mine.
Don't tell me I'm too old. I'm not too old.
Boy, it was like a left hook that dropped me right to the ground. Lateral Parkinson's disease on my right side. I'm going to watch my career disintegrate right in front of my eyes.
I like it all. There's nothing in Hollywood not to like.
Popcorn spill on aisle 12.
They're all characters. They all have their own thing. Rocky feeds the dogs. Jack orders movies every other week. He's got thousands and thousands of movies.
Don't talk about religion. Well, I think they're all kind of religious. I think they thank God for every good picture we ever made. Well, if you're going through anything, don't give up.
We're there not only for the movies, but a lot of it is just camaraderie, friendship, and being a member of the Cliffhangers. And the next thing you know, there's a whole buffet of life.
These films, just like the Cliffhangers, have somehow stood the test of time. They have faithfully brought us together, reinforced our brotherhood, and connect our present lives with our memories of yesterday.
Now that was a 4-minute trailer, which was a little long. There's a 2.5 minute trailer to a 4-minute trailer. This movie came out about 2015, if I'm not mistaken. And you can kill your phone, Al, when you can. So I'm hearing myself repeat myself. Okay. It was just kind of unusual. So,
well, we have Woody on the phone, and let's go to our good friend Woody Wise out there in California.
Woody.
Hello, Woody. Hello, and welcome.
Hello.
It's good to have you here. It really is.
Thank you very much for having me. It sounds like it's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's lunchtime where you're at, Woody. Are you got all the guys at the house eating lunch today, or is today not a cliffhanger day?
They do that Saturdays, every other Saturday.
Well, we can pretend it's Saturday.
Well, yeah, we wish it was, but because we haven't had any now for a year.
Oh my gosh, you're kidding!
Because of the COVID. You know, my little theater only seats 8 or 9, maybe 10 sometimes, and it's so small that with this COVID, we just can't get together.
Wow, that's a shame that you I know you missed that, for crying out loud. I mean, my gosh, just a backlog of films that you may have waiting for you to watch as a group. It's crazy.
Yeah, yep. We really miss getting together. I keep in contact with the guys.
Yeah.
We lost one, Rocky, if you remember Rocky.
Oh no!
Sorry.
Oh no! Sorry to hear that.
The house painter.
Yeah, yep. He was a great guy, but he passed away about 6 months ago.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I am so sorry. He was the wild card. I took notes and I gave a little moniker to everyone, as you guys did and do, with the Seven Dwarves characters. But man, that is a shame. God bless you, Rocky, in heaven. Man.
Yeah. Yep. So I've got an opening.
Oh man!
Wait! I'm moving to LA tomorrow. No, I'm just kidding.
In the documentary, he mentions that unfortunately, I mean, this is sad, but there's a waiting list for years, and unfortunately, the way you become a cliffhanger is you have to wait, unfortunately, for someone to pass away, as Woody mentions in his documentary, Brotherhood of the Popcorn.
Yeah, right.
Well, Woody, give us a history. Tell us how all of this really got started. I know that you are from Virginia originally, and tell us how you ended up in California. Now, like we talked by texting last week, and when I was 16 years old, I love the movies. I used to go every Saturday, me and a buddy, we would catch the bus in my hometown and go downtown, and we would go to the movies. And sometimes we would go to 2 movies. We would go from one theater, because back then all the movie theaters were downtown. We didn't have the malls or individual screens. And so when I turned 16, I decided I wanted to get a job in a movie theater, so I became an usher so I could watch free movies.
Shocker.
And you're the same way. From your hometown in Virginia, you got a job working at the Reed Theater, I do believe. Is that correct?
Yeah, that was sort of my second time. I finally got into really loving going to the movies when I was very early, like 7 years old. My dad bowled every Wednesday night, and he would drop me off at the theater. Even at age 7, then it was safe. You could drop your kid off at the theater.
Right.
And my really first love was projection. I just wanted to be a projectionist, because I would go to that theater while he was bowling and just watch the light coming out of the porthole.
I was the same way, Woody. I would always look back at that beam of light coming from that little porthole up way above. You know what I'm saying? And seeing that beam of light hit the screen, and I was always fascinated by seeing that. And I do remember the first time I saw a 35 millimeter projector was at a drive-in. And so before I got a job at the Bailey,
probably going to the restroom.
I went to the concession stand, and they had the booth door open. I looked in there.
Right, well, that's what I mean.
They were huge.
At my drive-in, it was an Anchor drive-in. They always had the door open. It was a screen door there.
Yeah,
because it was so hot. It was
so hot. And there's no air conditioning in the summertime, and that was a huge projector. The same for you, Woody. When you first saw the projector, how big it was? I said, "My God, that's a huge thing."
Well,
that's what she said.
When I was going to these theaters, at that one theater, it was called the Ingomar Theater in downtown Alexandria, Virginia.
Oh, that's a great name.
And the Ingomar. And I would never watch the movie, because Wednesday night was not really a kids' movie, and so I would sneak up the stairs and just peek around where I could see them running the projectors.
Yeah.
And it was just fascinating to me. So I was just, and then my parents gave me a 16 millimeter silent projector with an Abbott and Costello reel that I ran off.
Oh, okay. Because that's what I was going to ask you, because my first foray into film was a silent. Well, let me back up. My first foray was 8 millimeter. My father would shoot films, but then I had a silent, just like you, 16 millimeter. I think it was a Keystone, and I had some 400-foot reel of some Western. I don't even know what it was.
Hopalong Cassidy, probably.
It may have been, but I remember I loved it from that moment forward. I mean, a Kenner Easy Show projector was there as well. I got one of those, and wasn't quite as good as film.
Well, Woody, I still have my original 8 millimeter projector my parents gave me for Christmas. It was a Thunderbird, and it's sitting out there in my living room on a shelf. I still have it. It doesn't work any longer, but I still have it. That was my, collecting 8 millimeter films, and I still have those 8 millimeter movies. I still have them. Hopalong Cassidy's and Abbott and Costello.
Now, from the collection, I've seen some of the things that you've got in your house. Do you still have your 16 millimeter projector?
No. I used to, when I was running movie theaters back in Alexandria. Of course, I started. When I was 14, I was working in this we lived in a little town called Franconia, Virginia, which is just a few miles outside of Alexandria. And I got a job in this soda fountain, which was right next to a little theater. And the soda fountain, when you wash the dishes, it was right next to the booth. You could go up in the booth. And so the guy would teach me, I was 14 years old, he would teach me how to run the projector.
Oh, wow.
While he went down to the beer garden and had beer. And so when he got fired at 14, I became the projectionist at this little Sylvia Theater in Franconia. Wow.
It's kind of like a weird cinema paradiso, except you got to run the whole thing. Wow, that's great. I remember the theater that I grew up at is called the Village Theater in Hilton Village, which was in Newport News, Virginia, and I remember between a guy named Les Snipes was his name.
Les Snipes,
and he would run the projectors there, And he eventually worked at WVEC TV, where I worked, and he worked in the film department. Make a long story short, 2 projectors, and in between the 2 projectors was an open toilet. I mean, yeah, but there's usually only one person open.
Well, but the projection room had to stay up because they did the movies reel to reel.
Because there wasn't a
every 20 minutes, and so they had to have a restroom upstairs. In the booth.
So what do you obviously learned on a non-platter system, correct?
Yeah, well, when I was running the theaters, I actually had 35 millimeter in my home.
Oh, wow, that's great.
Like Al does.
Because I was running the movie theaters, and I could get all the first-run movies.
You take them home.
I know somebody else that did that, whose name will go unmentioned. Well, Al, but that's great.
Well, Woody, when I grew up in North Carolina, I had a Bell and Howell 16 millimeter projector, and when I went to college, the 2 years I went at UNC, they would have movies every Tuesday night in the student center. And so they would get movies from Swank or Films Incorporated or whatever, and they would always send the films in early, 3 or 4 days before the screening.
So you could build them up.
So these were 16 millimeter.
Oh,
so I would take the prints home and show them at home, and have all my friends come over and watch movies at home. I remember seeing Blazing Saddles, which was a Warner Brothers movie, taking that home, and then the Exorcist, I think, was a Warner Brothers movie.
Oh gosh,
yeah. So it was fun.
So what kind of films did you run? This is before, obviously, I'm assuming Cliffhanger actually started. But what?
This was my early days in Virginia, running the movie theaters. I managed one of the big theaters, and I drove the film truck also.
Oh wow!
Yeah, we had the film truck here, Benton Brothers.
And that's how I got into film collecting, because I got to know all the guys at the film exchanges, and then they told me that they would junk,
Yes, that's correct. We know that story. We know that story.
We know that story.
So I have a pretty good film collection also.
Now do you still have a quote unquote film collection, right? Or am I incorrect?
Well, not anymore. No, I don't have any film anymore.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
Well, you're bound to miss it a little bit.
Like, may I ask something, Woody? Did you convert any of these films digitally before you got rid of them, or what?
When we first started the Cliffhangers, I was just running 16 millimeter.
Right.
And so then, of course, when the digitals start coming out, you can only get so many 16 millimeter movies. I couldn't really run any new stuff, or newer films. So I ended up gradually, because I was in the video business here. So right. I gradually got away from film because it just became bulky, hard to get.
Yeah.
And, went from there into digital.
Yeah, we're looking at a picture of you now, just kind of examining film. And just
there's a delay, Woody. You'll see it if you're near a monitor.
Woody, I think it was like it was a 35 print you were looking at there.
But
that's a 70 millimeter.
That's a 70. Yeah, now I'll see. It's a 70 millimeter. I ran that too.
Yeah. By the way, folks, if you're listening go ahead.
I've got an interesting story about that also, but that's I love 70 millimeter, and we could get into that, getting a little ahead of ourselves, but I did end up in California when the Harold Lloyd estate closed.
Yeah.
I was a relief projectionist here in Los Angeles.
Yeah, because I want to ask you about that later for sure.
Yeah, but my trip to California, I used to come out here and visit friends, and they were friends of Harold Lloyd. So I got to meet Harold Lloyd, and when he passed away, they were looking for a manager to run the museum, the Harold Lloyd Estate Museum, and I got the job.
Now, who was the young man? I'm assuming it was a young man. It was a documentary about how Harold Lloyd kept all the films out in his shed or something like that. They weren't in the best shape. I'm sure you're familiar with that, right?
Yeah, it wasn't a shed.
I don't remember. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it was a real film vault.
Okay.
He kept all. Well, he owned all these movies.
Right.
He owned everything, and he kept all the negatives. His granddaughter Suzanne Lloyd now handles all that. She's really done a great job getting it out to the public. And there's a Harold Lloyd YouTube now where you can watch a lot of them free.
Wow.
Really? Wow, I've checked that out.
So he basically kept all the rights and everything to his films. He was smart in that way, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
He owned every one.
That's
Actually, when he died, I talked to him. Had seen him before he passed away,
right?
And he didn't think anybody wanted to see his films.
I heard that too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd heard that as well.
Well, Woody, tell us, how did you end up in California? When you from leaving Virginia, I mean, what took you to California?
Well, I was running. This was when all the theaters I operated, I was general manager of.
Right.
Were all single screens. The company I worked for was struggling. It was right there when single screens were going out.
And twins were coming in.
Yeah, and I wasn't happy. The company wasn't happy. And when I got the offer to be manager of the Lloyd Estate, I took it.
Wow.
In 1973, moved here and became manager of the Lloyd Estate Museum.
Wow, that's great. That is great. What a job. That must have been fun. And you got paid for it.
It was fun, but the estate, of course, didn't make it because it was in Beverly Hills and it had all kinds of restrictions. It was a great place to be. I met a lot of great people. They filmed a lot there. I got to meet a lot of the people that filmed there. Mm-hmm. And I worked with Edith Head for a month.
Oh, wow. Yes.
And I got to have lunch with people like Robert Wise. And so it was a great time for a couple of years, but it just didn't make it, and then we had to close it down.
Robert Wise, who directed, of course, Sound of Music.
And The Day the Earth Stood
For the layman out there that may not know who Robert Wise is. Great film director.
Hey, Woody, what took you to Warner Brothers? How did you end up working for the Warner Brothers Pictures Corporation?
Well, let's back up here a little
Okay.
bit. I never worked for Warner Brothers.
Oh, okay.
What happened was when I retired in 2004, a friend of mine was in charge of the Warner Brothers Museum. Which is on the
Okay.
And I consider myself still young. And
of course.
wanted to do something, so he said, "Why don't you come and be a docent at the Warner Brothers Museum," which was usually only for employees, retired employees.
Right.
Well, I was the only one there that wasn't a retired employee, and I was there for 15 years. So, and had a great time there. I owned a lot every week, and it was just a great time for me.
Yeah, because I remember because I did the Academy Awards for Turner for about 8 years in a row, which is why I went to L.A. every year. And luckily, when Turner merged with Warner and all this rigmarole went through with Turner, with Ted and everybody, our badge, for some reason, our Turner badge would let us on the lot at Warner.
Wow,
Yes,
cool.
it would. And me and Ralph Prado, my photographer that I had taken with me, we went on the lot, no problem. Drove right on the lot and parked in front of one of the sound stages. Went to the Mills, I think it was the Mill store is what it was called, where the Warner employees went and to buy stuff. We went in there, bought a bunch of stuff. Still got the jacket and everything I bought. So it's a pretty cool place to walk through. And it's pretty amazing to think about all the history that you're walking through. And I'm sure you felt the same way every day you went there.
Oh yeah, of course it was. Just to go through go to the gate and
Well, my first trip to California was, and I sent you a picture, Woody, me standing in front of the Warner Brothers studio. And but I remember one Sunday afternoon, me and my buddy were riding around, and we ended up there at Warner Brothers. But I made the wrong turn, and so where the gate is, I turned around to go back, and then the guard came out and says, this is private property. Anyway, I told him, well, we were just, we were sightseeing and tourists. So anyway, I said, and then he just said, this is a true story. He says, would you like to see a soundstage? And I said, that would be fantastic. So he took us. This is a true story.
Wow.
He took us on the sound stage, and that's at that time they were shooting Bonanza. And so I got on the Bonanza set. How about that? It was there on the, and of course we didn't have cell phones, and back then I would have taken the pictures, but I think I have a picture somewhere. But it was just amazing, and that was my foray into the lot there at Warner Brothers.
Tom, I got a question for you. When you were working that red carpet and you were directing at the Academy Awards, did you ever work with our friend Bill Tush, who was working the red carpet for CNN?
No,
Entertainment.
I never saw him there. Ironically enough, and I knew Bill. I mean, I knew who Bill
you
was,
worked with him at Turner, of course.
But I never saw him. So Woody, the museum. Tell me about the museum. Tell us all about the museum and how. I mean, you said it's just for employees only. What kind of artifacts and things of that nature are in that museum for the employees, as you call it, to see?
Well, it was a small museum, but of course my favorite things was they had the original piano from Casablanca.
Oh wow!
They had the original Maltese Falcon, one of them anyway.
Yeah.
There was four.
There's many of them. Yeah.
And they had that, and a lot of costumes.
Yeah.
A lot of Bogart costumes and My Fair Lady.
Well, how in the world? I mean, you said Casablanca, and that reminded me of something. How did? Let me. Sorry, you may not even want to tell the story. Something about a chair. That's all I will say, and I'll lead it on to you to tell the story. But somebody we know who's on the phone has contact with a chair from Casablanca. Is that you?
Yeah, that was me. But I
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't have it anymore. I did. I have the original chairs from Rick's Cafe.
Yeah.
Right after I retired, I used to have a large poster collection too.
Yes. Yeah.
And when I retired, I put everything on the wall that I liked, and I sold off a lot of that stuff. And my wife and I went to Europe a couple of times.
Yeah, I can imagine, because some of the stuff I've seen that's even on your walls now, it's a nice wall decorations. And first of all, congratulations on finding a wife who puts up with that kind of stuff, because that's hard to do, you know.
Yeah.
So where in the world? You got so many posters and so many lobbies and inserts and half sheets and stuff like that. But where in the world did you come across a 6-sheet Charlie Chan, The Trap? Where in the world did you find that?
Oh, well, yeah. The 6 sheets are actually easier to get than a lot of the smaller ones, because most people don't have room for them.
Correct.
I have a real love of big posters.
Yeah.
And in my theater, I have 3 6 sheets.
Yes.
The Charlie Chan, the Roy Rogers, Sons of the Pioneers, and the 12 Mile Reef. They're very colorful.
Yeah, they are. No, they really are. I mean, Al's got quite the collection too, but they're not 6 sheets.
Now, the largest posters I have some of your posters, just an image of them up on the screen now. But the 40 by 60s is the largest poster I have. Those were great posters.
My favorites are 1 sheets. I love 1 sheets.
Yeah, one sheets are great, but
I've got a bunch of 1 sheets.
But I got to tell you, another thing I've got to ask. I used to have, and I'm not trying to show off here, but I had an original Houdini banner, and it cost me more to frame that sucker than a poster actually cost me. So I can only imagine what a 6-sheet poster would cost to have framed. Now, do you have any kind of plexiglass over it or glass or anything?
No, I have them. I had them linen backed.
Oh
yeah, linen backed. Yeah.
Well, even that's expensive.
It is
even
now.
That's stupid money.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's not cheap to have linen backed, but I did have the 6 sheets linen backed, so that it'd be nice and smooth and look real.
Yes.
And then have I just have a black wooden frame built around it.
Well, see, that makes more sense.
When you linen back a poster, it doesn't take away from the value. But if you have one, dry mounted, it will.
I know.
But linen back is it holds its value.
Correct.
So, yeah.
And I've got a Jack Benny poster that I bought linen backed, but I've also got another Jack Benny poster, Horn Blows at Midnight, 1 sheet, beautiful.
Yeah.
And the idiot spray mounted it.
Oh, well. You still have it, but still,
I know, but I'm
it's
still upset about that.
Well, Woody, do you have a favorite poster? I noticed you have some Charlie Chan. I love the old Charlie Chan movies, and I noticed you had some Charlie Chan posters.
Boy, a favorite poster, that's kind of hard to come up with.
Yeah, it is.
It's almost literally impossible. I love the older, the the old ones that are in the 30s and 40s are
Right.
colorful. Mentioning Jack Benny, I have a great 3-sheet on artists and models.
Yes,
Great movie.
I did. I seem like I saw that in a documentary. As somebody was standing in front of it. Maybe it was you.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, it's in the back of my family room. Yeah, and
It's
the artwork. The artwork on those early posters are just
they're amazing. They're amazing. I had some again that was from the 30s. Puritan Pictures was one of them. Cosmopolitan Pictures. And there was one other one, and they were just obscure titles that you'd never heard of, but they were so colorful, and the artwork was just amazing. So I'm with you on that. It's not so much title. It's like, wow, this one really catches your eye.
But some of those posters are better than the movie.
Yes,
that's true. Because some posters, they were better than the movies. The artwork is fantastic on some of them. Yeah,
I've got one called "Remember Pearl Harbor." And the guy's shaking his fist at the camera, but it's really just an artist rendering. And the poster looks great, but the movie's not very good. So you're right. You're right about that.
But no, I love movie posters. Since I worked in the theater business, I would always, when the movie changed, I was always keep the one sheets. Yeah. But back in the early days, when I first got a job in the theater, and you too, Woody, you had to return a lot of the posters to National Screen. You couldn't keep them, like the lobby cards and the stills and the half sheets and the insert posters and even the one sheets. You couldn't keep them. But now for theaters, they just make the one sheets. But some theaters today, Woody, they don't even have the one sheets. They have a video screen of the poster.
Yeah.
That's the way it's going. Just like the actual film is hard to come by as well.
Yeah.
So you went from Virginia, and you went to the Harold Lloyd estate, and then you went to the museum after that. So
there's a lot in between. I didn't
I'm sure.
go to the museum until after I retired.
Okay.
I went to the Lloyd estate. It lasted 2 years, and then I was out of work. So I studied real estate and worked with the local union, protectionist union, as a relief protectionist.
Okay.
All over L.A.
Now, did you work at the Egyptian or any of the other more popular theaters that are known by all the fans of movies, whether it's Grauman's or it's not Grauman's anymore. It's
Mann's Chinese and
But
Here's the good story. I'll give you the good story first.
Okay.
I'm working all over town. They would send me out to porno houses.
Oh gosh!
Everywhere.
Oh my goodness!
Anywhere they needed me.
Yeah.
And so one day the guy that runs that puts the guys everywhere said, "Do you know how to run 70 millimeter?" And of course, I said, "Yes, I've never run 70 millimeter."
That's a great.
He says the projectionist at the Cinerama Dome is going on vacation for a week, and I need somebody to fill in. Oh yeah, I'll take it. So I just went down there for a couple of nights. 70 is not much different. It's just a little bit of threading differences.
Yeah.
So I went to the Dome, and in 2 days I started working at the Cinerama Dome, running Logan's Run in 70 millimeter.
Oh, with Michael York.
Well, how was your experience running 70 millimeter? Because those reels are heavy. I mean, they're not light, and I know you didn't have the platter system then. Did you have two people helping you? Was it 2 people in the booth or just one?
No, just one. But
wow!
I was in my 60s, so I was still pretty healthy and good. I never had a problem. I had a very embarrassing moment that I had in my first week of running 70 millimeter. After a changeover and a thread up, I forgot to lock the bottom reel.
Oh, mercy!
And so I changed over. Everything was fine. Got the other. All of a sudden, I hear a huge bang, and the bottom reel just fell.
Oh my God!
Woody, it's Chance speaking. Did you have any experience with Cinerama projection?
No.
Okay.
No. But I love Cinerama.
All right. So when that reel hit the floor, first of all, What did you think? Tell us what was going through your mind, because we
in my 35 millimeter experiences, I'd had a break in the film before.
Right.
And in 35 millimeter, you could actually tear the film and thread up while the machine's running. You could still.
That's true, because it was acetate stock. You could break it, Yeah.
But 70 millimeter, you can't break it.
No. And films later became on polyester, and you couldn't tear that either.
So I found that real quick, and I had to grab the scissors and cut the film.
Oh, wow.
But you know what? Nobody ever said anything.
No, of course not. I remember the first reel. One of the first movies I put together was The Fifth Element with Bruce Willis, and because I didn't listen to Al, I wasn't careful. One of the reels came, I think it was tails out or something was wrong. Here comes the reel change. All of a sudden, everything's upside down, playing backwards. It's just,
well, I like Woody. I always like when I built prints up. I always like for the print to come in tails out, because what I did, I would build the movie up on large 6,000-foot reels. And it would be 3 or 4, and that way I could put the whole movie on 2 reels and then wind it on the platter that way instead of individual reels. I always built it up on one reel, but I always like the film to come in tails out. Hey Woody, I noticed that you in your special that you mentioned the Smokehouse restaurant. I worked there briefly when I was out there at the Smokehouse. Wow. Is it still there?
Oh yeah.
Wow. Because it's not far from Warner Brothers.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's right next. It's right across the street from Warner Brothers.
Yeah. And so that's where I worked out there for a while.
That's pretty. It's pretty amazing. Now the interesting part about where Woody lives. Well, I don't want to tell you where he lives, but there's an interesting Betty Davis connection. Now that we've got him back on the horn, he can help us understand and help you understand the good folks listening and watching. Woody, why don't you share with us a little bit about
that's a terrific story.
The Betty Davis connection? Did you ever meet Betty Davis?
No.
Okay.
No.
All right. I didn't think you did, but go ahead and tell us about that.
Are we back on yet?
Yes. Oh yeah. We're back. Yeah.
Are you recording the audio? Cool.
Yeah, we're back.
I don't see it on Facebook. Okay.
It is. If you go to the Facebook page, Nostalgic Podblast, the Nostalgic Podblast, it's pinned at the top. I just pinned the second part of our interview to the top of the page. You probably need to refresh.
It's back.
Yeah, I kind of did. Okay. All right. Well, that's all right. Let's go. Betty Davis. All right. Let's talk Betty Davis.
Yeah.
My home is built on the front of her old home, where she had a corral with her Arabian horses.
Wow!
And my home is built in that corral.
Well, it's hard to believe she had Arabian horses, though. To be honest with you.
Now we're showing that original house, Woody, her original house on Facebook now. It'll come up shortly.
Right. It sort of sits actually in my backyard.
Wow.
Well, it was just one of her homes. She used it. It's only 10 minutes to Warner Brothers. So she used, when she was filming at Warner Brothers, she probably stayed in this house close to work, because she had homes in Beverly Hills and all over. She had 2 or 3 homes.
Wow.
But the old original home is still there.
Wow. Now somebody obviously lives in it now, is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's a private home.
Right. Okay.
And, it's fun. It's been kind of fun being there. It's very popular with my friends. Sometimes I can take them over there and show them around.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty neat.
We're showing photos of your home now on our video.
That's Betty Davis's home.
Betty Davis's house. Yeah. That's great. So you look out your back window, you see it, or do you see it at all?
Well, no,
from your property.
I can look through the bushes, but I have put up trees all around the back of my house.
Gotcha. Yeah. Because you got to have privacy too, man. I mean, come on.
Who lives in that house now where Betty Davis once lived?
Well, it's a band that's actually from England and owns a insurance company. I mean, we're not really buddies or anything, but he's very nice. If I want to come over there, if I want to bring a friend over.
That's nice.
Just to see the outside of the house. I don't want to take people in.
No.
I think he's changed the inside a little bit. I think
Well, do you actually live near any other people in the movie business where you live now?
not that I really know of. We had many people down here. Tab Hunter just lived up the street, and a couple of older stars. But
Tab Hunter, wow.
We don't know where everybody. We don't know where all of them live.
Right. I think you can buy maps. just kidding.
Well, usually if you go to Beverly Hills, they'll sell you a map.
Oh, they sure will. They sure will. I say it's ironic because the years I was going to Los Angeles, there for the week prior to the Academy Awards and etc. I would go and visit the cemeteries. I knew nobody would bug me there.
Yeah,
so,
right.
Although there are some cemeteries that won't let you in the mausoleum and stuff like that. But it's kind of funny. It's kind of like I made a book of where everyone's at, and so. But then there's been many books since then, which was the only sightseeing I ever really did there. Is I went to the normal places, saw the Cinerama Dome, et cetera. Now, when you ran 70 millimeter, obviously you had run 35. So when you saw how big those suckers were, and how many reels was that film that you ran? How many reels was it? Do you remember?
Not exactly, but they're
because Logan's run
to 35. They were like between 7 and 9 reels.
Yeah. Okay. Because I remember Al ran had to put together a print of Lawrence of Arabia in 70 millimeter, and I remember seeing. I got a picture of him sitting on top of all the cases, and there was a ton of them.
I think it was like 12 or 13 cases.
I think that ran about 3 or 3.5 hours.
Yeah, my gosh.
Well, speaking of Lawrence of Arabia, the story you have about getting a letter from one of my favorite actors, Peter O'Toole, just blew me away. Tell our audience, how that came about, because I think that letter is just a real treasure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he had made that. My mind is going a little blank here. That film.
It was a TV movie he did. He didn't have a copy of it or something.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he didn't, and it'll come to me in a minute. But anyway, I heard that he didn't have a good copy of it.
Right.
And
I remember 1976 Nazi Hunter. It was like a Nazi. I have it in my notes. Continue. I'll find it.
I'm looking at it too. I had everything written down but that.
He was going to assassinate. He was going to assassinate his character Adolf Hitler. It was a fascinating movie. It was a television movie from 1976, starring Peter O'Toole. Yes,
a British television movie. Yeah.
Well, and then you had a copy of it, and you sent it to Peter O'Toole, and he sent you a nice return letter thanking you for the movie. Correct?
Right, and I heard about it. His attorney contacted me because I had written down there that I could get an original copy, and so I only dealt with his attorney originally, and so I got the film and I had it transferred to what he wanted, and sent it off to the attorney, and the only thing I requested was a signed autograph. I said, "Give me a photo of Peter with a signature."
Yeah.
Well, a few weeks later, I get a certified envelope in the mail that from Turner Classic Movies.
Oh,
wow!
That they're going to honor him at the Turner Classic Festival here in Los Angeles, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And that Peter has requested that I be invited.
Oh, wow!
And spend the day there. So
wow, that's fantastic.
The movie's Rogue Male, by the way.
Rogue Male, that's right. I don't know why.
Well, I have a picture of Peter O'Toole posted up, and I'll show one from Lawrence of Arabia. I just think that's incredible. I like a lot of movies, a lot of actors, but Peter O'Toole's always been a favorite, absolute favorite.
So he did invite my wife and I to the handprint at the Chinese Theater,
right?
And we got front row seats right there with him, and then he invited us to lunch at Musso and Frank with a few close friends.
Oh, that's great.
And so it was really great. Yeah.
Oh,
wow. We talked with him. He was really a nice person.
Yeah. Well, see, when I worked at Turner, I did all the Robert Osborne. I did a lot of them, and I got to meet a lot of stars through doing that. His interviews that he did, from Mickey Rooney to James Gardner to to Charlton Heston to Betty Hutton. A bunch of people. And it's interesting to find out when you meet someone close up like that how personable they are. And I'm glad to hear Peter O'Toole was not a snob, a jerk, or whatever you want to call it.
Oh yeah, no, he was very down to earth. And I mean, for me to get a six-page handwritten letter,
I know exactly.
And it's just it really was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I would cherish that letter forever. That's a great thing to have.
Now, have you got that framed up by chance, or you still got it just put away somewhere?
No, it's right here on my desk. It's kind of hard to frame up because it's two-sided.
Yeah.
He just flipped the paper over and wrote.
Yeah.
So.
Just get a good color copier and copy the second half or something. Yeah. Wow, that's amazing. A 6-page letter. I mean, I know in the documentary we see you looking at the letter, et cetera, et cetera. It's pretty darn impressive.
Yeah, well, he explained in the letter, why the movie was important to him. Most people didn't know that at that time, that film, before that film was made, he was really expected to die. He had some kind of disease that they didn't think he was going to pull through.
Wow!
And he did finally get well. And this director wanted him to come and make this movie as the first one coming back from the illness.
Yeah. Now, as it says in the documentary, in your documentary, I should say, or that it talked about also, why was his autobiography mostly about Hitler, and it had a lot of Hitler this and Hitler that in it, because that was his childhood, apparently.
That's right. Yeah. He was in Europe and England, and he lived through all that.
He sure did.
And he played a terrific Nazi in Night of the Generals.
Yeah, he did.
One of my favorite movies, Night of the General. I have a one sheet for it downstairs in my theater, but I love that movie. Night of the Generals.
I liked him a movie that you guys won't give two flips about, Supergirl from 1984, and Jerry Goldsmith did the music. It's kind of like Wonder Woman 84. Mediocre movie, but the music was incredible. Well, anyway, Peter O'Toole starred in it.
I'm sure, pretty sure Peter O'Toole would say, "You got to make some money."
Exactly. I did it for the money. Okay.
Got to make some money.
I got to pay the rent.
Well, we got started on the cliffhangers, and have you guys reacted during the pandemic? Have you actually?
He told us earlier he hasn't done it in a year.
Oh, okay, that's right. I'm sorry. I was busy.
But he may want to expand on it. I'm just reminding you.
I'm just thinking, once everything sort of gets back to normal, I guess you guys will all get back together and everything, correct?
Oh, I hope so. Yeah, everybody wants to. I've been in touch with all of them, and we're chomping at the bit.
Well, have you thought about doing, not may I be so bold to suggest, to maybe instead of all 6, 8, 9, or however many. I know one of you just had one pass away. God rest his soul. But
I have a picture of them in front of the Grauman's Chinese Theater.
Yes, And have you thought about doing it in shifts, so to speak? Like only 3 of you can come. Or here's the lottery drawing, and here are the 3. Or anything weird like that. That's what I would. Because to watch the documentary and to see the camaraderie that you had, that you continue to have. No offense to anyone listening, COVID or no COVID, put the mask on and let's do it. Although I'm sure it's not that. Maybe it's not quite that easy in California. I don't really know.
Yeah, it's not that. It is pretty bad here. We are still very limited, and I don't have. Once they're all vaccinated, maybe we will.
True, and luckily, and that's the only lucky thing about all of our ages. I'm talking about me and Al. I can't talk about Chance, but all of our ages is we're at that age group where they, in theory, will vaccinate us first.
I got my first vaccination this past Wednesday, and I get the next one on March the 12th. So, but Woody, I'm like you. I don't get out very much. I stay at home and watch movies and enjoy my toys at home. So I really don't get out that much.
So why'd you get the shot then?
Because I can.
Good answer.
And so you just never know.
Yeah, because Chance could have it.
You know, you could go to the supermarket and be around somebody.
That's true. Absolutely.
So, hey, Woody, I mean, when the theaters were open in L.A. and your surrounding area, did you ever go to the movies? I mean, did you frequent the theater, or did you just kind of stay at home and watch movies with the cliffhangers?
Well, I did go to the movies only because I got to go free.
Yeah.
Right.
I'm not paying. I don't want to pay $15 a ticket.
Of course you don't. Nobody.
Wow, $15 a ticket, man. That's expensive.
Well, some of them are 18 here. I mean, it's expensive here.
Well, the prices here vary. Chance and I go to the movie sometimes, and we go on Tuesdays where it's $5, and then
we used to
at the AMC theaters, yeah. But now the theaters here in the Atlanta area are open, and most of them run like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and they're closed Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. But there's some theaters.
None of our theaters are open.
No kidding. I'm surprised.
Oh, wow. In California, they're locked down, buddy. Wow. Have you been to Atlanta, Georgia, Woody, ever? Are you familiar with the Fox Theater in Atlanta?
I'd love to. It's one of my favorite theaters, but I'd love to go see it.
Yeah, that's of course where they had the Gone with the Wind premiere back in '39.
The last time I was at the Fox, me and some buddies went and saw the movie The Day the Earth Stood Still at the Fox. It was a retro screening, and it was wonderful. See it in that big theater.
They have 70 millimeter there on occasion. But Tom, you're going to correct me on something. Did I just misspeak about Gone with the Wind? Correct me, please.
Gone with the Wind was at the Lowe's Theater.
I'm thinking of Margaret Mitchell.
No longer here.
Okay.
Hey, Woody, speaking of the Lowe's, when the Lowe's Terra here, we had the Lowe's Terra, the Twin, and the 12 Oaks. They were all, of course, named after Gone with the Wind. And when the Lowe's Terra Theater opened here in Atlanta in 1969, the first movie they showed in it wasn't 70, but it was 35, was Gone with the Wind. And they showed that there. I ended up working at the Lowe's Terra for a while as projectionist. The Lowe's had sold it by then. It was owned by a local guy, George LaFont, but I worked at the Terra. And they had 70 millimeter in one house. It started out as one big theater, then they twinned it, and then they added another theater on the end, and it was 70.
So
we want to invite you to Georgia. And if you're here with Sandy, your wife, we'll give you a great tour, won't we, Al and
Sure.
Tom?
Yeah.
We'll show you a great time.
Yeah.
Hey, Woody, speaking of the cliffhangers, I know you like me. I have a popcorn popper, and you always pop the popcorn and had all the goodies for the guys, right?
Right.
I got a picture of you at your popcorn popper up on the screen right now. You'll see it here shortly. I love it.
Yeah, that's on our YouTube channel and our Facebook group, The Nostalgic Podblast. I've got questions, but Tom, do you have any questions you want to continue?
I want to continue on about the cliffhangers themselves. So,
good.
So, how did you go about meeting all of your fellow cliffhangers? How did that happen over time in a Cliff's Note type of manner? How did that happen? Because I know.
Well, it started out with like 3 of us. And just people that love old movies.
Right.
And before you know it, it just sort of evolved. I mean, one of them had a friend that liked movies, so it tried. And, before you know it, we had a whole group. Before I had my home here in I bought this home in 94, I had my theater in my office in Burbank.
Right.
And I could seat a lot more people there. I could have like 15 people.
Oh, wow.
So I would always invite extra people for a Friday night movie and then Saturday for the guys.
Right.
And when I was retired and made the theater in my home, I only have room for like 9 or 10 people.
Right.
So I kind of pared it down. But it evolves very quickly when you get into old movies. And you've got 2 or 3 people that like old movies. Before you know it, you've got 6 people that like old movies.
But I like the way you choose the movies. You don't tell anybody what you're going to run. Now do you always make the choice? Now what I did wasn't clear about. Did you always make the choices, or do you take turns? Like this person will bring these movies, and you might bring a movie, and how does that work?
About once a year, each of them gives me a list of movies they'd like to see.
Right.
And each year, I take a week and dedicate it to one of the guys. But, to ask them what they want to see, when you got 9 guys, you say, well, what do you want to see this week? you got 9 different movies they want.
That's correct. And same problem. I mean, it's just 3 of us.
Yeah.
And sometimes I'll bring Susan. It's 4, and we have the same problem. It's just 4. I can imagine 9 people. Wow.
And so
I just put myself to plan the program, and it seems to work out. Everybody seems to have a good time, and they like it that way, I think.
Now, it seems like everyone is not allowed, I could be wrong about this, is not allowed to talk during the feature or during the movie. Is that true? Or are you all comment and here and there? And
No, I'm a theater man. I don't want anybody talking on the phone.
So someone pulls out their phone and wants to Facebook, hey, I'm watching this movie right now. You want, no. You shine a flashlight at him like an usher?
I make them leave the phone downstairs.
Oh, you're a smart man.
I have to do that with Chance because Chance is constantly on his phone.
That's true. Hey, Woody, it's Chance speaking. Film noir, is that still your favorite genre of film as a group?
I think so. We just love those old black and whites, the old Bogarts and the Mitchums, and it's like Out of the Past with Mitchum. I love that film, and Maltese Falcon,
right.
And those type of movies.
Bringing Up Baby.
I find something good in almost any movie.
Yeah.
Now, Out of the Past with Robert Mitchum is a great movie. I have a lobby card from it. I have that on DVD. It's a great movie.
I love Mitchum. He's great. That's, I guess so. Because my wife and I, when we have get into newer films, we love the romantic comedies.
Yeah.
Like The Sweet Home in Alabama.
Reese Witherspoon.
The Sleepless in Seattle, and You've Got Mail, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I personally, I really enjoy the early 30s into the mid 40s. That's my favorite line there.
Well, a really difficult question to answer, and I'll ask it. What's your go-to movie? What is Woody's go-to movie? Okay, now we're back. We certainly apologize, but we want to thank the fine folks at Comcast Xfinity for dumping us.
They're going to get a call from me tomorrow.
This is the 3rd time, I believe, the internet has gone out on us.
Yeah.
In an hour and a half or something like that. It's crazy.
3rd time.
Well, we last left Woody.
Now, you asked me a question, my go-to movie.
No, but I asked Woody first.
Oh, okay.
I asked Woody first, and that's when we lost. That's when we found out, either Woody got mad and hung up on us, or we lost the internet again. Sure enough, we lost the internet. Woody, are you still there?
I'm here.
Okay, I humbly apologize. Your East Coast friends have not lost their minds, but it sounds like it. So, Woody, what was your go-to film? That was the last thing I said to you before we lost the internet again. So, what is Woody's go-to movie?
If I had to go to one movie to pick that would make everybody happy, is that what you mean?
Yes. I should have a drum roll going, shouldn't I? Which one?
Charlie Chan.
Charlie Chan. Now, any of them too, right? I mean, are you a Cindy Toller man or a Warner Olin?
Well, we like Warner Olin and Cindy Toller best, but any of them really. If I had to choose to make all of them happy, I would just pick a good Charlie Chan.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong. Didn't they start out over at Fox and they ended up at MGM? I think.
Well, they started at Fox, and they were much better production value.
Right, at Fox.
Warner Olin and the very first 2 Cindy Tollers, I think, were all pretty, or their production values were high.
Yeah.
When the Monogram took them over, when they went to Monogram,
that's right.
They didn't have as much money, but they still are very good little films. They're still good.
So have you watched The Trap? That's what I want to know.
Oh, we've seen it. Oh,
okay. I just want to make sure. Because after all, you do have this. Go ahead.
I think over the last 8-10 years, we've watched every one of them.
Oh, wow. Now, I know I personally have every one of them on a digital format, all of them. and they're all enjoyable. And of course, sadly, there are varying qualities because they're just not out there. All of them are not out there, and I'm sure yours has got different quality things on it. But I know I had a 16 print that Al and I went to a mutual. It was Al's friend. And we went, and
he was a big film collector. His name was Clyde. He was a big film collector.
And he had passed
Clyde Carroll.
He had passed away, and his wife was selling off, some of the stuff. And I remember I got a print. I don't remember the name of it, but it was gorgeous. I mean, for 16 millimeter, it's the best focused. I mean, it was amazing how.
Well, the early 16 millimeter films were done with great quality.
It was not a TV print. It was definitely not a TV print.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so Charlie Chan is Woody's go-to. Do you have a go-to movie?
It's funny you ask me that. Do I have a go-to? Almost pretty much any film I put up and put on at that time is my go-to.
Right, that's true. Same with me.
That's what I will say. Chance, what about yours?
You guys are going to laugh. Star Trek IV: The Voyage Home with the whales. I just love it. That's what got me into Star Trek and turned me into an eternal nerd.
Well, there you go.
And it had Kirk's love of his life, Dr. Gillian Anderson. Go ahead, Taylor.
There you go.
Hey, Woody, do you and your wife kind of watch a movie a week, or just whenever you feel like it? Now that the guys aren't coming over right now, do you just like say, okay, we're going to watch this tonight, or you just?
So every Friday night we
go
to the theater.
Okay.
I make popcorn, and my wife and I and my 2 dogs sit in there and watch a movie.
Amazing.
That's fantastic.
So, Woody, who came up with the name Cliffhangers? Was it you, or was it the whole gang, or was it someone else?
Well, the very first guy that watched movies with me just loved the serials. He was into Flash Gordon, mainly Flash Gordon.
And they were fun.
And
they were fun.
Loved the movie serials. And so when 2 or 3 of us got together, we just sort of haphazardly, this was before the internet, actually. If nobody knew, we just kind of got together, and we started calling ourselves the Cliffhangers.
That's great.
I ran every time we got together, I ran a chat.
When are the T-shirts coming out? That's what I want to know. The T-shirt says, "I'm a cliffhanger," or "I have been." It's a shame your name's not Cliff. I have been to Cliffs, and I'm a member of the Cliffhangers.
Well, Woody, I have to ask you a question and see if we can. Because me, Tom, and Chance, and sometimes his wife Susan shows up, and we watch movies over here, downstairs, and we need to come up with a name for our group. Can we be called the Cliffhangers too? I'm just joking.
Cliffhangers East Coast.
Cliffhangers East Coast. Yeah.
Well, if you run serials, yeah.
Well, I have a bunch of serials on DVD.
Buck Rogers? You have Buck Rogers?
Yes, I have.
Flash Gordon?
I have a Flash Gordon. Ooh. I have Undersea Kingdom. I have SOS Coast Guard, I think, with Bela Lugosi. Yeah.
Westerns?
Not sure I have a Western on. But they're easily obtainable. You can buy them off eBay.
Yeah.
Well, the westerns are great. Of course, I go to Lone Pine every year for the Lone Pine Film Festival.
That's right. I saw that in your special. Yeah.
And it's just great up there.
Now, do you run films and DVDs there, or what were you doing there?
We used to run both, but now that to have a good projector that runs all the time, not easy.
Yeah, that's true.
I have some. I'll send your way.
Hey, Woody.
Well, I have to ask you a nerdy question. I mean, because I like projectors and stuff like that. I know you run digital and Blu-rays and DVDs. What kind of digital projector do you own?
I have a HG.
HG.
Yeah, HG.
Oh, okay. I have several.
I was going to say, which one do you want to tell me about?
Oh, it's an LG, not HG.
Yeah, I thought it was. I was going to say LG, but I certainly didn't want to correct our guest.
Right, LG. Well, I have an Epson. I like Epson products. I also have some Sanyo projectors, but I like Epson. I just bought a new Epson projector off Amazon, and it gives it a stunning picture. It really does. I really like it.
I've had mine for a few years, and I love it. And as long as it keeps giving me a great picture,
Now, do you watch regular TV on that same system as well, or just movies?
I used to, but when I did some changeovers, I don't have my connection up there anymore.
Gotcha.
Number one, I don't have cable anymore. I got rid of cable, went to Fire Sticks.
Yay for you!
Good for you.
Good. Screw Xfinity.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm saving about $100 a month by going to Fire Sticks.
Oh, wow.
Oh yeah, it's that's what I need to do. I have cable, but I don't watch a whole lot of it, to be honest with you. But it's just I like to keep. I don't run TV in my theater because I like to keep it as a theater. I like to watch movies down there. I don't run TV shows or things downstairs. I just watch that on a regular TV. I don't know. I just like.
Yeah, well, basically, that's all I do now too. Also,
right.
Go ahead.
I like the big screen experience with a movie and not just a TV show.
I've got some questions, if I may. I was really impressed with Tim Walker, one of the cliffhangers who's an animator. And his story is very, very incredible, how he overcame some serious odds. He was struck with Parkinson's disease, and it affected his ability to draw with his right hand. And he was born right-handed.
Yeah.
And so he had to learn how to animate with his left hand. And he, in fact, wrote a book. And I know it's come up, but I just want to bring it up again for anyone out there. Drawing from the Left. And it reminds me of a classic book, Drawing on the Right Side of the Brain, by Betty Edwards. Yeah. And I just think that's a great story about overcoming odds. And
that is. That's a great story.
And he worked. Tell us what studios is Tim Walker affiliated with, or has been affiliated with?
Well, I've got to remember because when I first met him, he was drawing the Flintstones.
Yes.
And I was trying to think of what studio that was, but
Hanna-Barbera.
Hanna-Barbera.
A basic studio was Warner Brothers, and he worked at Warner Brothers for 50 years.
Wow.
Yeah, he did the Sylvester and Tweety Mysteries in 1995. That's what he did.
But he is an amazing person, and for him to teach himself to draw with his left hand, still work at Warner Brothers, doing Warner Brothers stuff, he has to be pretty darn good.
No,
that's an amazing story.
Excellent.
He did Samurai Jack, Batman, A Mask of the Phantasm, and he's done a lot of stuff. I mean, it's amazing. What was the learning curve for him? I wonder. It's kind of like it's like if you would tell me, hey, starting tomorrow, you have to start writing with your left hand. My gosh, no learning curve? Come on. I wonder if his employers gave him a learning curve, or did he just kind of, I don't want to say covered it up, but just kind of went, well, I can do this and do that. How did that transpire for him?
Well, if you actually, you probably haven't. I don't know whether you watched all of Brotherhood of the Pop.
Oh yeah, we all did.
Oh, we all did. Yes.
And he said, he just bought a book and started doodling with his left hand.
Yeah.
And until he could get it right.
Yeah, I remember. He as it went along, it said, day one. Here's what this character looks like. Here's week 2 or whatever. Pretty amazing. And I know he's retired, but is he still drawing?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
He's got a new web page, I think, called Timmy Tunes.
Yeah.
And I think he's selling some of his art on there.
Right.
Timmy Tunes. I have to remember that.
He said something really cool too. He said that a blank page is the most intimidating thing an artist faces.
Yeah.
And for him to overcome, to be suffering from Parkinson's and then still to be able to draw. Amazing. And learn how to teach your body how to draw.
Amazing.
And another hand, that's incredible.
Absolutely amazing.
With another hand.
What about some of the...
It's either that or give up,
Well, yeah.
He's really not the kind of guy to give up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought
no one likes a quitter.
Yeah. I thought it was also impressive that he had the original Hanna-Barbera drawing table in his house. It looked like is what he was using, an animation table. So I thought that was kind of cool, too, that he was able to take that with him, so to speak, or buy it, or however he acquired it.
Hey, Woody, another question. Your production company, the Predator, is it Predator Films, who did your documentary, are you affiliated with them, or did they contact you? How did the documentary Brotherhood of the Popcorn come about?
Yeah. Predator Productions is owned by a young lady named Inda Reed, I-N-D-A Reed, and R-E-I-D. And what happened was, how this all started was, she was at a coffee shop, and 2 of my cliffhangers, Rocky and Bill, were sitting there talking, and she overheard them talking about trying to get Woody to show a movie this week. And she wanted to know what they were talking about. So they told her about the cliffhangers.
Fantastic.
And she says, well, this sounds great. It sounds like something I should make a movie about. And so she came to see me and came to a couple of meetings. And before you know it, we were filming Brotherhood of the Popcorn.
And it's amazing to watch. I really enjoyed it. I've watched it twice now, and it's really good.
And she started the whole thing. She photographed it. She edited it. She wrote it. She did everything.
The production values are phenomenal. It looks like something on PBS. It looks like a Ken Burns production, for goodness sakes.
The production value is top notch. She did a fantastic job.
Where can people watch it?
Pardon?
Where can people watch Brotherhood of the Popcorn? I've seen it's on Blu-ray. Where can people purchase a copy?
Oh, it's on Amazon. You can rent it or stream it on Amazon, or also on flixhouse.com.
Very good. And
very good.
May I ask, what was the budget for that documentary? If you don't want to answer, that's cool. I'm a numbers guy. I'm just curious. Was pretty decent budget, ballpark?
Well, let me tell you something. It took us, I think, 7 to 8 years to finish it.
Golly.
Wow.
We mostly did it out of our own pockets. The only big donation we had was from a company here that's owned by my stepson called Castex Rentals, which does motion picture rentals. They gave us a pretty good donation. Mm-hmm. But I would say that we did that whole film for under $25,000.
That's pretty
cool.
cheap.
That's pretty cheap. Cool.
Yeah.
Another question.
Yeah.
What? Hey, Woody, I saw that you guys do chili cook-offs. Quick question: beans in the chili, yes or no?
Do what?
When I saw that you guys do a chili cook-off occasionally, right?
Oh.
Do you put beans in the chili or not? I'm just curious. I'm just trying to set a little friendly bet with somebody.
I'm not understanding you completely. Do I use what?
Do you put beans in your chili that you make as an ingredient?
Booze?
Beans. Beans.
Oh, beans. Beans. Yes, I like beans.
Okay.
I like chili anyway.
I like chili regardless.
I've never been a chili I didn't like.
Oh,
good enough.
Well, then you've never been to the Varsity. I'm just kidding.
Come to Atlanta and go to the Varsity.
Yeah, don't do that. Woody, have you ever been to the Western Film Fair? Have you ever taken Sandy back east to Charlotte, North Carolina by chance? I attended it in 2005, and it was a lot of fun. Just wondering.
No.
Okay.
We have a great restaurant here that's been here forever in Burbank called the Chili Bowl. That's
chili.
the best.
Oh, okay.
Well, cool. Well, Woody, I can't tell you how much of a pleasure it's been talking to you, even though we had to break away a couple of times because of the internet. It's been a sheer pleasure, and I'm glad we're friends now because I want to keep in touch with you. Is that okay?
As much as you like, I'd love that.
Oh, that's terrific. And we'd like to have you back again sometime. We need to wrap things up, but we'd like to have you back again sometime if that's okay with you.
Oh, I'd love it too. Yes, I had a great time.
And next time, bring one of the other cliffhangers with you. That
yes,
would be great. And,
yes,
we could certainly open up even more broader as to what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I could have Tim Walker or any of here as a guest with me.
Great.
You know who you look like, Woody? To me, Gene Hackman. Anyone ever tell you that?
What, Gene Hackman?
You look like Gene Hackman.
I do?
I think so.
Well, there you go, Woody. His name is now Woody Gene Wise.
And did you guys talk about the connection with Robert Osborne that you all share?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yeah.
All right, I was distracted. I just want to make sure that got covered.
But the show's going to be available. I'm going to put it together tomorrow in audio form also, and I can send you a copy through email or whatever, and it'll be available up on YouTube and Facebook after tomorrow.
Yeah.
All right.
But Woody, we really appreciate you spending the time and putting up with the stupid old internet we have here on the East Coast. And I'm sure you have internet where you're at, and hopefully you don't have the same kind of issues we have.
No.
Woody, you got a website? How can people find you?
Well, mostly just Facebook.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't have a website. No. Well, Brotherhood of the Popcorn has a website.
Oh, good.
BrotherhoodOfThePopcorn.com.
Cool. BrotherhoodOfThePopcorn.com.
Brotherhood of the Popcorn is on Facebook, and of course, I'm on Facebook. I love Facebook.
You're a treasure.
I need to send you a friend request. So no. What am I saying? We are friends.
Okay.
Never mind. Just forget that.
Oh, well, I just want to say you're a treasure, and I get tired of people my age saying, "Oh, the movie's in black and white. I don't want to see it." No, we love everyone on the Nostalgic Podblast loves classic golden age of Hollywood films, and we're happy you were here. And man, we love every one of the cliffhangers. Thanks for being a part of the show.
And we're now
Thanks, fellas.
we're now starting the Cliffhangers East Coast Club.
How's that, Woody? The Cliffhangers East Coast Club. We'll do that.
Okay, buddy. Woody, we will talk to you soon, my friend, and hopefully we won't be a stranger to each other.
Okay, great.
Thank you, Woody. It's been a sheer
care.
pleasure.
Thanks, Woody.
Okay, bye-bye.
Well, that was fantastic. Hopefully the Cliffhangers can get back together soon and then start enjoying their pleasure of their company and their films.
No, Woody was a great guest, and so I'll be calling Comcast tomorrow.
Oh yeah. All
right.
Yeah.
That threw everything off a little bit, but what a pleasant guy, knowledgeable guy, and there's still so much more I want to ask him, but we'll do it next time, right?
We'll do it next time.
All right.
All right. Till next time, folks.
Well, we got one more thing, and correction corner real quick.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
You have one more thing?
Just a quick one more thing.
All right.
What is that?
Well, we all like. You remember the Big Top? Oh gosh, I'm having a brain too.
You weren't ready, were you?
No, I'm ready. I'm ready. All right, the Celebrity Wheel of Fortune's going on right now on ABC in prime time, and you remember, of course, the controversy around Paul Rubens, right? I won't go into details.
Yeah.
He got into a little bit of trouble, right?
What about it?
This is funny. All right, he was on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune the other night, and of course, he's best known as Pee Wee Herman, and he was in Cheech and Chong next movie. Well, on Celebrity Wheel of Fortune, guess what the puzzle was that he solved? At the start of the show, they do those instants where you buzz in quick and answer the puzzle. It was...
I'm waiting with bated breath. Tell me.
You Can't Touch This. Yeah. 90s pop song.
Who did that?
How appropriate is it? MC Hammer.
Oh, yeah.
MC Hammer.
Actually, I like
but
that
you
song.
get it. I'm not going to go into detail,
it.
but I thought that was pretty ironic. But I really am enjoying Celebrity Wheel of Fortune. And what else? Just a quick... you don't have to pull up the music, but I did have a correction.
Oh, wait. I had, but Al doesn't have me up on the board very loud.
That's great.
You had your music playing in the back. I had to have it low.
Yeah.
In our last show, we did it at Studio East about 1950s big and low budget sci-fi. I made a mistake. I talked about Michael Rennie being in 2 episodes of The Invaders. He was actually in 3. He was in Summit Meeting Parts 1 and 2 and The Innocent. And the 2-parter threw me off. I was thinking of the 2 stories. Anyway, a minor correction, but I don't like to put out any false information.
No, of course not.
So that's all I've got.
All right, then. We're going to wrap it up.
Well, what about you guys? You got any more things or corrections?
Not today. I've got nothing today.
I got nothing today.
Next week, we'll be back to wrap up Black History Month with a tribute to black cinema and television. It's going to be awesome right here.
All right. Until next time, if I can get this to play. Okay.
You did fine.
All right. See you later. Bye.